Football with friends is fun as hell. My name is Alex Dunlap here with Cody Carpentier on a big Monday. So pumped to be here with you on Orange Bloods Live as we, I guess there's basketball tonight, Cody. I'm probably not going to talk too much about that, but are any predictions from you by the time people watch this? 99% of people watch this. It's going to be over, so you can look like a fool or look like a genius.
Well, first off, I know everybody comes here for basketball analysis, so I'll just say this. I didn't watch a lot of basketball all year. I generally keep that for the tournament. My professional opinion 1 year ago, my one only projection about a basketball player to the pros was that Zach Edey would indeed be a top 10 pick. I was told I'm wrong. I don't know the new age of basketball. Zach Edey was a top 10 pick. You're welcome. My first prediction and only prediction this year is Houston Cougars by 50 tonight.
Right.
Phi Slamma Jam was back. We're going Houston Cougars by 50. It's going to be a butt kicking.
I think I'm rooting for Houston, I guess. Just, Texas team, even though I do have allegiance to the SEC.
Yeah, but it's Florida. Florida's won before. Yeah. Their coach looks like a geek. Like, I want to see Kelvin Sampson get, 800th win today. Like, come on.
All right. Let's just get into it. So first topic of the day, we have 2027 linebacker Taven Eps commits to Texas over the weekend. 4-star. Let me just pull up some, here's my first thing about him is I'm about to read off his height and weight. And this is listed at 6'4", 210 on Rivals out of California. And we can talk about his weight here in a second. He looks bigger than 210 to me. But it's just a super interesting player here. He's a 2027, so first of the 2027 class for Texas. He comes from California. Tustin, California. Where is Tustin, California? Is that LA area? I have no idea where it is. Maps. Let's see. Tustin, California maps. So it looks like. I think it's so it's south of Orange. It's kind of southeast of Orange County. So I guess kind of by north of Irvine. So I guess that's the LA area. So start going back to the West Coast, getting his 2027 guy. It's interesting because here's a dude who, his offer list is strong to quite strong. He's a 4-star right now. I'm not sure where. So a 5'8" 4-star. Is that? I always get so mixed up. Is that the middle 4-star or is 5'9"?
That's a mid 4-star. And to be clear, before we get too far off of his bio, he is originally from Texas. He moved to California.
Right. He's only been in Cali for 4 years, right?
He's from North Texas, north of Fort Worth.
Okay. So, but dude, he's got offers from everybody. Alabama, Georgia, Miami, Michigan, just all Notre Dame, Belichick's offered him, Oregon's offered him, Penn State, all the West Coast schools like the UCLA, USC, all the basically the entire SEC. I'm looking here like Tennessee and Texas A&M and Missouri and schools like this. So clearly a whole ton of offers. But if you just based on there used to be a website, Cody, called Rank by Offers. And I don't think that it's around anymore, but I used to think it was so interesting because they would give each school like a value for what its offer was. And they'd just go by the offer lists from Rivals and from 24/7 and some of the other ones. And they would just rank them just completely sight unseen, just rank them by their offers. And I'm not sure that the site's around anymore. People will complain about it because the
site does not exist. It is a Chinese website now. Okay. Twitter account hasn't tweeted in 8 years.
Okay. Well, I would think that this guy on that platform would probably be ranked pretty high because it's a pretty awesome offer list. And I'm just curious to you. I've only watched this huddle and I got to see a little bit of the Rivals Camp Series. Maybe I'll show it here in a second. Just 2 reps from the Rivals Camp Series, the linebackers versus running backs in coverage. But clearly, huddle's not film, but it's highlights and coaches offer off of it. What did you notice from watching his sophomore huddle reel?
I thought his sophomore huddle was good. I spent my day Try to get through all the linebackers that are offered between the two classes. I came away with a middle four, pretty much the same rating he has on Rivals, a middle 4-star rating. I thought, and the weird thing is, amongst all the guys, amongst with a T, all the linebackers that they've offered, none of them are as big as him. So, Talanoa Ili, who's now in Hawaii, the linebacker.
He's listed at 6'4", 210 on Rivals, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I think it's wrong.
Correct. But Talanoa Ili is listed at 6'4". You have Braden Roos, who's 6'3". You have Taven Eps, who's 6'5", 6'4", whichever. I think he's 6'5". Samu Moalias, 6'3". And then Xavier Griffin, who's committed to USC, is 6'4". This is the biggest kid I've seen. So out of all the tape I've watched, all the huddles I've watched, this is the biggest kid. Pure and clear as day.
Rivals has him as 6'5". I'm sorry. For some reason, I thought it was 6'4". Okay, so Rivals has him as 6'5".
Yeah, so I wrote down he has a massive upper torso. He's a little tight in the lower quarter. At 6'5" already, I think his frame could blow up, and he could be a 6'5", 250 edge before he steps on campus in 2027. No shortage of lumber in his wood laying. Also plays tight end quite well. And doubt he's going to do that, but he plays it quite well at the high school level. A good processor in the run game, but growth will be desired. I think it's a good thing he has 2 years left to play. But I have him right now amongst all linebackers 6th. So that's after Talanoa Ili, after Tyler Atkinson, Tristan Phillips, Anthony Davis, the other linebacker from Grayson, Georgia, and Braden Roos.
And those are all 2027?
Those are all 26 kids.
Okay.
And then ahead of Kui Beck, who's from Carthage in this class, Samu Moalia, and Tank King from Port Arthur.
Okay, so that exercise was stacking him up, just how you would rank him if he were reclassified to 2026.
Correct.
Is there any? We haven't heard anything about that yet.
Well, no, we haven't heard anything about that. It's the timing of the commitment would make sense. The size of the player would make sense. Like, as far as his progression goes, and as far as like, is he ready to contribute? I would say like an extra year, kind of like in my little write-up I have was like, I think if you give this guy this whole offseason plus the season, next whole offseason plus the season, he's going to enter Texas at like, kind of like the size of a Michael Williams from Georgia, who we talked about, like this build of this potential like stand-up outside linebacker thing that they're working at. It's really weird, man. A lot of these linebackers I've been watching, they're kind of these, I don't want to call them tweeners, but they're guys that you can really visualize as edge rushers.
I kind of thought the same thing, but all right. So to me, I'm not going to let it bother me about him, but I feel like his foot speed and the general way that he moves his feet and stuff like that. I feel like he's just the tiniest bit clunky, just a little tiny bit. But I often just with these types of players, I just chalked it up to sophomore film, right? Or sophomore highlights. I do think that he shows really good, but like I look at him, I'm like, well, why do I feel like it looks like he's kind of shuffling his feet and stuff like that, but he's so fast. It's just really, it's an interesting dynamic. But what the more interesting dynamic is this dude played safety as a freshman. And I'm like, he looks too big to even play linebacker.
Yeah.
As a sophomore.
Yep.
So I wonder, I guess that was on JV that he was playing safety. Like what? And the other thing is it's just, you just mentioned, it's like, if he is a tweener, and I do agree with you, it's like that body type. If he's 6'5", there's no way that he's 210. Right?
No. So
I'm just like, so if we're saying he's a tweener between edge and linebacker, but he played safety last season.
He had. I mean, I didn't go back and look at that freshman tape, but
I'm not sure it's even available.
I don't know if it is either.
So it's just kind of odd. It makes me wonder, well, what is his exact fit? It isn't like, was there anything that you saw in the eval that would make you think Yeah, this dude, like, did you notice anything with his bend, ankle flexion, hip flexion, any of this, closing speed to the quarterback? I mean, he does get to the quarterback. He knocks the ball out.
Yeah.
It isn't quite not quite the, who do we watch last week? Richard Wesley.
Yeah, it's not this menacing, overpowering unit of a prospect that you're, it's not a Jadeveon Clowney highlight reel. Just put it the cleanest way of saying it.
Right.
I mean, his open field, I think he had like an interception on like the first video or the first play
Yeah.
of his thing. And it's like he shows good movement in space like that. Like I said, though, I think that the thing is like he sort of like, I comped him to Drew Sanders from Arkansas from 3 years ago. He's at Arkansas, Drew Sanders. I think he's at Denver now, maybe. And kind of like this taller, more broad linebacker. I don't see him really as playing middle. I think it's a stand-up outside backer like a Michael Williams that from Georgia that's in this current draft class that plays that edge role and can and probably, like I said, by the time he gets to campus, he's probably 235 to 250, and he can put his hand in the dirt and play behind Lance Jackson. And I think that's the intriguing part.
In 2027, do you think Lance Jackson is still playing defensive end?
Well, no, and that's the thing is you could potentially see Lance move in and this guy just take Lance's spot and be similar in size.
But do you see him? But do you see him as eventually spinning down to a strong side defensive end, or maybe with the way that Texas seems to be maybe trying to do things a little bit differently with the integration of sort of like a third linebacker in their packages? And
no, I think that's the problem we're facing right now is that I think I can see him going and playing the Lance Jackson role, ballooning up, because we're talking about a kid that just finished his sophomore season, right? So he's technically got 2 years of high school football left. He's got like 700 days before he's going to be on campus. It's a long time. And I think you look at him and you say, if he's 6'5", he's got
to be 220.
If he's 6'5", 220 right now,
yeah,
he's a sophomore in high school, man. He's going to be lifting, going to be running, he's going to be eating. He might have a growth spurt coming still. Like
he's going to look at let's just look at this. All right, so is that up? So look, this is just 2 reps, right? But notice his body and look how like it just like if you look at how what?
When's this from?
This is from 1 year ago.
So this is a freshman.
Yeah, this would be this would be right after like in the camp circuit following his freshman season, going into his sophomore season. And if you just look at him here, you can just tell his upper body. It isn't where dude, those are good ball skills, right? But if you just kind of look here, his upper body is not quite where his lower body is as far as how stacked he is.
Yeah,
but, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like skinny arms, light through the shoulder, but turkey jerky. These are good plays, and he's definitely running with these guys. Here's another good one here.
Mute. I can't hear you talk over it.
Oh, sorry. Well, what I'm saying is, could you hear what I was saying about his body makeup?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, he can definitely run. He can definitely run with those guys.
Yeah.
As a freshman, looks like he's good in coverage. I think that, regardless of what I was saying about how I was like, man, it's like you don't put it on and see like an inside. You don't see like a big, violent sophomore linebacker like you saw when you saw Ant Hill, who looked like he was already like a running back playing linebacker, right? It looks like he's got some, maybe I don't know what it is that he needs to, clean up with the way that he moves his feet and stuff like that. But like I said, I was consistently just so surprised at his actual speed once he got going, and you could see the speed Just in those clips, especially his speed to recover and break up those two balls in those wheel routes.
So the freshman, there is freshman stuff out here, and he was on varsity as a freshman.
Oh, he was.
And it says 6'5", 195. And he's sort of, I mean, he's lean. He looks lean here. He's kind of a missile. That's a big safety, man. I don't know if he's 6'5" in this, but he's listed at 6'5".
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a big linebacker, but I think that he moves. I mean, if he's played safety and stuff, I think somehow like he does. He moves well enough. He's got the recovery speed. I think that's where he stays. I think you just have a package for him. I just don't think he looks like a clean. I'm not sure he looks like a super clean inside linebacker prospect like I would watch when I would watch. And grading him versus Ant Hill is tough, right? It's like
It's not really fair, to be honest.
And people in the chat keep saying it's like they're saying that Alan Makeda is saying that he's not going to end up at Texas and
why?
Stuff like this, or I don't know. This is funny. Alan Makeda saying that the longer that you've been a part of OB, the more you look like what is a capo? A capo is something that you put on your guitar. That's where you put.
Wait, is a capo in the capo's in the mafia, right?
Oh, he thinks you look a mob.
It's a made member who heads a crew of soldiers heading a position of significant status and influence with an organization.
What is it? Is because his hair is slicked back and he's got that chain?
Probably. I think I'm gonna put that as my in my bio. Capo.
The capo of the Orange Bloods crew.
OB capo of OB.
Okay. Epps is going to end up in edge. Alan Makeda, a bunch of stuff here.
The thing is, I don't think he has the bend or the natural pass rushing instincts to play edge like that. Like
I think he should be an outside linebacker, dude.
He should be I changed my comp while we were talking to Michael Williams because I didn't think of Michael until now.
Well, that's quite a comp.
Well, I know, but I mean, Drew Sanders was pretty. I mean, what was Drew Sanders' draft capital?
Second or third. If I had to guess, I'd say second or third round.
67th overall. He was 6'5", 233. He was out of Dallas. Denton Ryan.
Wow. A lot of Denton Ryan. Cranking them out, man. Just always cranking them out. It's like Texas beef traders. Every Wednesday, new steaks get cranked out. Right there off of 620 and at Loman's Crossing. Their beef comes from 3 different local farms. The MTX beef is the Angus herd that they have out there in Mason. No vaccines, no antibiotics, no commingling of the herd. Bovine nutritionists there on staff. And look, man, it's local meat that comes from like 90 miles away. This isn't meat that comes from out of the country. It's not anything where you know exactly what you're getting. It goes right from the ranch to your table, and it was processed only 13 days ago. And it was half the time it's never been frozen. It's been hanging in the processing plant for 13 days. So they let the meat stretch out, and that's what they've decided makes it the most tender. It's just such tender, delicious beef. So such great steaks, great people at Texas Beef Traders, and you get 10% off anytime you go in. That's not just a one-time deal. Hey, your first time, tell Darren it's like anytime you want to go. Right up on the corner of the screen, we have the Texas Beef Traders beef jerky, the Football with Friends, Texas Beef Traders collab, tasty as hell beef jerky, three different flavors available right now. I don't know what's going on with the jalapeno garlic, Cody. Do you have anything to do with this?
Well, they can't keep it in stock.
I don't know what it is, but
my wife's buying all of it.
It should be the hot honey that sells out the most frequently. It's my favorite. It's my son's favorite. I believe it's your favorite.
Hot honey, yes.
Yeah.
I think my wife's favorite is jalapeno garlic, though, so maybe she's buying it all out.
It could be. Texas Beef Traders, TexasBeefTraders.com. And if you live in the Austin area, look, the beef jerky ships to the lower 48. But if you live in the Austin area, they don't ship beef right now. It's really expensive to ship, as Cody and I found out. But if you live in the Austin area, anywhere in the Austin area, just call up there, make an order with Darren. Ask if he can bring it to your house. He'll just bring it to your house after work one day. Texas Beef Traders, TexasBeefTraders.com, man. Make sure and support our great sponsor there. Cody, anything else on Eps, or you want to move on to some of these other topics of the day?
Well, I just wanted to you've watched Talanoa Ili, right? The linebacker from, I guess he's now from Hawaii, but he was in California.
Yes, but if you ask me, oh gosh,
him and Atkinson are the two that we've talked about most, I think, at linebacker. Atkinson,
yeah, I'm trying to. How do you spell his first name?
Talanoa, Talanoa.
Oh, okay, Talanoa Ili. Okay,
big dude. So I don't know if you have a take on this or not. I don't know if you're pulling it up or not, but I'll just say this: I'm working on across all linebackers. I was gonna post edge last week. I'm gonna post edge, linebacker. I think I'm just gonna get the rest of the defense done before I post.
Oh, I love Ili. I forgot. Yeah, dude.
For my out of state rankings on Orange Bloods, and my goal is to get that up this week. And I got done with linebacker, and I watched all these guys back to back to back to back, and I came back around after I realized that I have Ili ahead of Atkinson.
I would certainly have Ili ahead of Eps.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
But he's a different class.
It's a different tier.
Right. Different class. And who knows? I mean, like Epps might look like this next year, but this guy is a
total sicko.
A Tasmanian devil.
You want to hear my write-up on him?
Yeah.
I don't do a full write-up. I just do like I just drop thoughts as I watch.
He's a sick puppy.
This is what I wrote. Ready?
Yeah.
A menace to society off from every location. He starts pre-snap, edge, middle backer, nickel, or in the A gap. If you throw the ball on the sideline on a bubble screen, he's there. Not the fastest player in the field, but his closing speed and instincts coupled with the top end hit power and tackling. This is a day one starter at the next level.
Day one. Just very, very good. I forgot how, like, did Jason have him on Texas' most recent recruiting board?
I can pull it up right now.
Yeah, dude. I'd be interested to see that because oh gosh. I mean, I've forgotten how good he, like, this is a guy where you say, he's listed at, where does Rivals have him? I just have his huddle pulled up and they always lie on their huddles.
He's listed at 6'4", 220 pounds.
Okay.
I comped him to Kiko Alonso.
I mean, look, here's the thing about Ili. He projects as a pure inside, like he doesn't need to move. Just have him at will inside linebacker, have him play off ball, and like all the skills are gonna translate really, really well. Where does he have like off? Like we need to pay closer attention to Talanoa Ili.
Let's see here. Oh, he's got everything. Every book.
Yeah. Well,
he's a big, I think it's Oregon. I'm trying to pull up the recruiting board right now. I think it's Oregon is the lean right now. He's got officials with Oregon, Texas, Notre Dame, SC, and maybe like Oklahoma. I think.
Oh no! Well, if Oklahoma's in on him, Texas should be in on him. Texas is in on him, man. Like, wasn't there there was the update? We gave the update on him where he had like glowing things to say about Texas.
All right, here you go. Here's the recruiting board from last week. Linebacker. Tank King from Port Arthur, 45%. Kosi Okpala from Maid Creek, 45%.
He's good too.
Calvin Thomas from Cypress Ranch, 45%. Talanoa Ili, Anthony Davis, and Tyler Atkinson all at 30%.
Woo! Do you like Ili better than Atkinson?
That's what I was just telling you. Atkinson's the number one ranked linebacker in the country right now. I ended up with Ili ahead of him. So Ili right now is linebacker 3 in the country. He's 62nd overall in the country. Tyler Atkinson from Grayson has been pretty much the consensus LB1, and he's the number 18 overall prospect in the country. I like Ili. I think Atkinson.
I think I agree with David Keith Williams here that I love Ili. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'll be honest with you, David Keith Williams. It's not Xavier Griffin. If anybody is as athletically gifted as Tyler Atkinson, it's Anthony Davis, who's in the same linebacking group as him. his literal partner in crime at Grayson. That's the only other guy in my opinion. I wouldn't go the Xavier.
Yeah, but there's no, I don't agree. I disagree with that. I think that there's a lot of difference between the other guy and him.
I didn't say he was as good as him.
I would, so you would rather have the dude who is the other linebacker for Grayson. What's his name?
What are you talking about? When did I say that?
The Tanaloa Illy.
No, I didn't say that either.
But you said is gifted
as Tyler Atkinson. I'm not sure there's another linebacker being recruited right now that is athletically as gifted as Tyler Atkinson. I said it's not Xavier Griffin. I said if anybody is equally or close to athletically gifted as Atkinson, it's his running partner, Anthony Davis at Grayson.
I think it would. I would say that I'm more impressed with how gifted Tanaloa Illy is.
He's very gifted, but like I said in my thing that I read off to you, where did it go right here? Exactly how I wrote it. He's not the fastest player on the field, but his closing speed and instincts coupled with his top end hit power and tackling. Anthony Davis is a better athlete, I think, than Talanoa Ely, even though I think Talanoa Ely is a different tier of prospect.
Huh. Well, it's an interesting take. I mean, I guess I haven't thought about it in that deep of a way that you're having to do with these rankings, but I would prefer Talanoa Ely over the other guy there at Grayson. Besides, I think
he's $1 million cheaper.
What?
What if Davis is $1 million cheaper than Illy? What if it's 1.5 versus 500?
What? Just because one guy's from California and the cost of living and stuff?
No, the guy's going to live in Texas. Oh. If it's 1.5, Illy's right now the number 3 linebacker in the country. Davis is at, where did he go? Davis is down at 15. So the perceived value of prospect is that Illy's in the Atkinson conversation, which is going to be the high dollar linebackers, and Davis is, 2 tiers below that in cost. I don't even know if he'd cost you 500. He'd probably cost you like 300.
Well, I mean, those are, I guess, I mean, I hated that those are
things. It's $1 million versus 300,000. Let's say that.
It's not my money. I want Illy. Dude,
you win.
Dude, I just put up the Poncho Outdoors thing. I just got an order in from Poncho. Got some new shirts. Got one in that is going to be great for like Easter. Are you supposed to for Easter wear like shirts that are more kind of light colored and stuff?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like at Easter, people like the women are always wearing their floral prints or like pastels and stuff like that. I got this one called the what was it called? I'm gonna have to go get the thing, but it's like this one is kind of like this green color, the short sleeve Western. It's like one of the ones like Colt's wearing, except it's this it's called the Colorado Springs. And it's got this cool like print on it and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, dude, this thing's gonna be perfect for Easter.
I don't know if that's light enough for Easter.
The Colorado Springs?
I don't know. The evergreen. Now I think you're light enough, right? It's got that like that brightness. There's no brightness.
Well, I already own the evergreen anyway, so I'll just wear that one. Okay,
that would be my fashion advice.
Well, fashion advice from Capo Cody here. Going into the mafia Easter ceremony at my church, where you slip a stack in the slip a stack in the offering plate whenever it comes by. But yeah, thanks to Poncho Outdoors for being such great sponsors, and for Bo Edge and all the guys at the Outsiders. They're going to be on tonight, I guess, or maybe not with basketball.
Well, there's no Texas team playing. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not, but yeah, they're sponsored by Poncho, and also with Bo. Man, he's going to help us out with putting together some DraftKings lineups for the Masters this week, which is going to be a whole ton of fun. So maybe some Masters talk a little bit later here in the week.
Here, well, since the championship's on tonight, let me ask you this question. So we're in the UFL Fantasy League. The Masters is on this week, and the national championship is tonight. So the national championship is one game. The Masters is 4 days, and the UFL is 4 games. What of those 3 sports will you watch the most of this week?
It depends on how many players I get through the cut in my DraftKings lineups. If I get 6 players through the cut in one of my lineups, I'll watch the Masters most.
All day on Saturday and Sunday, is that why? Because you won't watch it on Thursday, Friday, right?
I don't know how.
I think you can just go to masters.com.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna do that. And I'm hoping that they're gonna open up practice on Thursday. We know they're not opening practice tomorrow, but we'll see what kind of information that we can get as far as spring football practices. But media is not going to have availability tomorrow. I was really hoping for it. I'm still hoping for Thursday because tomorrow they're giving us Sark after practice, but Thursday they're giving us players after practice. And sometimes when they give players after practice, those are ones that they open the at least a small media window up for. But man, this whole thing has been for the birds. They've only given us one open practice.
What was
Everything that we know has just been from sources so far this spring. It stinks, dude.
My over-under was 2.5 for you, a week and a half ago, and now it's,
the only place to set it right now would be 1.5. Now, I'm still not sure whether or not we're going to get whether or not
get totally swindled all the way until like that final day when they have like the appreciation day.
I'm not sure they're going to open anything for that. They might just do something where they might just do something where like Arch Manning and the guys go out there and they sign autographs and kids can play on Bevo Boulevard and jump in the bouncy house.
Well, they're definitely not going to have fans watch, but I'm saying like they might have, if they weren't.
Well, I'm going to be at the draft that day anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just
you're going to get swindled regardless. I think.
Always a wonderful thing to hear that no matter what happens, you're getting swindled. So hopefully we'll have some notes from practice tomorrow. We'll at least have some notes from Sark, what he says. But also, some kind of practice stuff that we could get into here. Oh, before we get into that, Cody, can we just say, are there any big takeaways from your NIL thread this week on Orange Bloods with the big day today for the House settlement?
Okay, so there's a lot in there. I started the thread up early because today's today was House versus NCAA. Started at 10 o'clock Pacific, so that was noon Central, 1 p. It's been going on all afternoon, and it's not gonna. Nothing's gonna come to fruition today. They said it's gonna take multiple days. If you want to stay up to date with everything, that's kind of like a place to go. The NIL thread over in Orange Bloods right now is kind of like a culmination of if you see something posted in there and we kind of talk about it and digest it. The one thing that I know all season a lot of coaches were asked about during SEC media calls, and this is the one thing that I've fully grasped, is that it sounds like the judge, if everything gets pushed through, one of the things that it'll account for is the roster limits that are supposed to come down to like 105, where there's a lot of rosters that have like 120, 122, whatever it is, that the number, if it comes to 105, which is the only number that's being discussed, everybody that's currently on a roster will be grandfathered in. So it won't be like a hard cap for the next, assuming 4 years. It'll be a soft cap, and only guys that are currently over that cap for your respective roster. So if, let's say Florida has 125 guys, the cap is 105, but you have 20 guys that aren't on scholarship that are over that number. You probably have to distinguish who those guys are. And then once they graduate, then you're no longer able to go over that number, if that makes sense.
I get it. And that's good for the kids right now. But what about just the future of the sport? It's like, are we just going to be getting rid of walk-ons now?
I think JUCO's going to, in theory, my thoughts are, yes, it sucks because kids aren't going to be able to play. But in reality, and this is, again, no offense to any of the names I'm going to use here, because I only know a handful of the walk-on guys. But think about a walk-on that's non-scholarship, like a Colin Page, that got just a touch of an opportunity, right?
Okay.
This last year.
There are other guys like number 49. What's his name? Thatcher Milton. Yeah.
Think about a guy like that makes a big play in the spring game, right? He never has that play because he's at, East Mississippi Central Community College. He's at Butler. He's at Blinn. He's at one of these community colleges for JUCO for a year or two, and he's he has a 1,000-yard season, and then he earns a scholarship somewhere, or he goes to a smaller school like a Sac State, Northern Arizona, one of these FCS schools, right? And I think what it does is it squeezes out some of the walk-ons from the high D1s down to the FCS, maybe down to the D2 and into the JUCO level. I think it should, in theory, and this is my brain working here, it should, in theory, raise the boats in those divisions because you're getting rid of walk-on D1 talent and feeding it into the FCS, D2, and JUCO level. So you should get better football across the
Yeah, I
field.
mean, you say right now, you'd have Michael Taft playing at Rice. You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, not sure how good that would be for Michael Taft or for Texas, but yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense. It's like it can't be all bad. I think that just from reading this tweet earlier from Ryan Mulvaney, and this was from how Judge Wilkin, who's I guess presiding over the case,
Yep.
How she started it out. Basically, just a couple of things that I don't like. It feels like to me like there's just too much. I'm not sure they're going to get anything done. It feels like there's too much. She feels like okay. So she said at the beginning, she said that named plaintiffs do not adequately represent the class because they are binding future athletes who are not at the table. And so, but all that means is that the lawsuit now involves current athletes and former athletes who are the named plaintiffs, but they're negotiating a settlement that's going to affect future college athletes. And so she's concerned because these future athletes aren't part of the discussions. I don't know how you would make them part of the discussions, except just to say future athletes aren't going to be able to be bound by the settlement's rules. Right? And if they're not going to be bound by the settlement's rules, then what? Like, what is it? Like, what do we even have here? Right?
Yeah.
And then she also said, and here's the other thing too. They're not going to be able to get anything done with this as far as the collective bargaining agreement that you and I have talked about so much. She's even said it could be a great idea to have a collective bargaining agreement, but this case is not the proper vehicle for that because it feels like a collective bargaining agreement. And we all know what that is.
It would only be a pain.
But all that it's like,
now.
It's like, it feels to me like, as we've discussed before, it feels to me like, and I don't understand all these legalese about like, if they put this injunction here, they're asking for a temporary, like, I don't know what that means. But what I do understand is I don't, and I was about to say what I do understand is antitrust law, which I really don't. There could be nothing that I understand least, but I know what an antitrust violation is, right? It's all that is not allowing for free competition, right? And so it feels like there's so much of this stuff with the NIL compensation limits, how those, we've talked about those before, about how they're going to have this clearinghouse that talks about, how much a guy can get paid and whether it's fair market value and all that stuff. And they're like, well, is that could that possibly be an antitrust issue? Because, it technically that unfairly limits competition between like possible suitors for NIL and stuff like that. They're just like, well, I'll bid $800K for him to be my car salesman. I'll bid a million. They're like, well, no, that's too much. That's like that's not fair market value. And she's saying, well, that could represent an antitrust issue. And she's saying that the spending caps could also be one, and that there's also this about the class council agreeing to support a request for an antitrust immunity for NCAA and conferences, and shooting preemption arguments related to the state law structures with interest to third party NIL. So more of this NIL antitrust stuff. She said Title IX is not an issue. So it feels like there's all this antitrust stuff that's going to be talked about. Specifically, I think with the NIL compensation limits, because the revenue sharing, which this is actually talking about, is completely separate from this whole NIL thing that they're trying to put in. It's like we've forgotten that this isn't NIL right now that we're talking about. Yeah. It's revenue sharing from a house settlement where the plaintiffs had brought a case. So It's a mess, dude. I'm like, they're certainly, it's certainly not getting figured out today.
No. So
Yeah.
so our guy Mitt Winter, who is I think one of the best follows in the whole space. Three things he said in the last hour since we kind of gone live. He says Judge Wilkin asks the parties to file another brief within a week explaining how they're going to fix the issues she's identified. So that tells you brief within a week. It's going to be a little bit before this is done. She also indicates that she expects a revised settlement agreement, and the NCAA attorney pushed back on that. One of his big takeaways from today, before it's over, here's a big takeaway. This hearing is the perfect example as to why sports leagues agreed to rules with players instead of leaving their rules both subject to annual approval by federal judge and open to antitrust damage claims. And here's another one that we have talked about before, which is the idea that a team could cut a player. The NCAA attorney said teams and schools can cut players. Mitt says that's something the NCAA has always says can't happen. They now say it can happen, that you can be cut instead of like, a player getting in the portal or a mutual departure from the program.
I mean,
now you can just be like,
if you're paying him, you should be able to cut him.
In theory, we cut this guy.
If you're paying him, you should be able to cut him because because NIL is not pay for play. Revenue shares, as far as I can understand, technically sort of is.
But yeah, I was gonna say, but there's a lot of verbiage lately that would say that there's some pay for play going on.
Do you know what I probably pay? I just an insane amount of my paycheck on is just going to Specs. And I think we have a new Specs commercial here. I'm not sure if it is.
I love a good Specs commercial, dude.
But we're gonna run it, and if it turns out to be something for if it's covert forward or something like that, then we'll just go ahead and run it. But I'm pretty sure that this is a new Specs ad.
Have you heard the news? Specs is turning 63, and we're celebrating you. Whether you're looking for whiskey, canned cocktails, or wine, Specs has it all with Texas-sized savings all month long. Specs. Cheers to save.
Cheers to you. Cheers to savings. Oh, look at that, Cody. Hey, so what is that? Is that a champagne of the? Oh, well, look at that, dude. Because I was going to ask you
the sport.
I was going to ask you about this one, and you already are celebrating. So I looked it up today. Today is National Beer Day. Will you be celebrating?
I am celebrating with the best beer on the market.
Do you know? I never knew that. I never knew that you liked the champagne of beers.
I'll be honest with you. My favorite. You're not from the Midwest, so
no,
I don't know
if
you had this or not. MGD, Miller Genuine Draft.
I've had.
You traveled everywhere, so I'm sure you've maybe seen it. Have you had it?
I've been to every state in the lower 48, man.
Yeah, I know. Have you had it though? It was like a black can.
Yeah. I had MGD. MGD when I was in college, it wasn't popular, but it was like one of those ones that was kind of, it was around. It was kind of like be about as, you'd see it every now and then. It was, but no, I've had it. I think it's fine.
It's a Midwest beer, but I grew up. My dad used to drink those, and then I think they went out of business, or not out of business, but they quit making them, I should say. And then I actually walked into a joint in Wisconsin, and they had them, and I was like, "Oh, this is the best beer I've ever had." But you can't find them anywhere, so this is my go-to.
My old man didn't drink much beer, man. He's kind of like, his drinking habits were a lot like mine that you've seen, Cody. It's like couple shots of tequila after work, and then some wine and stuff with dinner. But it was for him, what him and his bros would drink is just. It's what it looked like the Miller Lite cans look now, like the white Miller Lite cans with that. And then for a while, Miller Lite changed to where it was like blue cans and stuff. It was nowhere near as cool. And I remember like what an awesome marketing campaign it was when they changed it back to those white cans. Because I got so nostalgic for saying, "Oh, dude, that's like what my dad and his bros would drink in the backyard." And so I just wanted to buy them. And then, now it's like Miller Lite's all I drink. I've just gotten used to the taste, but I don't know if I'll be partaking it myself. Tonight in National Beer Night,
You don't
But
have any beer, do you?
I actually do.
You gotta go to Specs.
I did. I did. I bought some. I bought some electric jellyfish the other day because I knew that we were going to be having. I forgot what. Chicken wings, and so I bought some of that. But so I do have some, but I don't really like that electric jellyfish as much as everybody else. I think
You
it's
know what? Tell about like October. I thought electric jellyfish was like a food or like a jelly shot. I didn't know it was a beer.
no. I mean, it's once you get past the disgusting taste of the IPA at the beginning. It's what I told my wife. It tastes amazing. I just wish it wouldn't taste like soap when I first drink it.
Oh,
But so April 7th is called National Beer Day, and I forgot what it was. Who was the president that took us out of Prohibition? It was like 1933. It might have been FDR.
was it?
Anyway, it was on April 7th whenever he started doing that. So National Beer Day. Happy National Beer Day to everybody. And Cody,
Prohibition.
make sure to go to Specs and get that done.
Woodrow Wilson.
Woodrow Wilson. So a similar guy to FDR.
Wait, this is 1919. Does that mean, was that when it started, you think?
I don't know. Somebody in chat could probably let us know. I think they only prohibited. No, because wasn't there the Roaring 20s and stuff where they allowed beer?
Yeah. Okay. So 1933. Yeah.
I don't know. I just saw it on X today. It's National Beer Day. It's something 1933.
FDR.
Let me ask you about this. Some draft stuff about the Longhorns and some other guys. So draft position over-unders dropped today on a couple of different platforms. I saw them on BetUS and on DraftKings. So we have Matthew Golden. His is set at 17.5 as far as his draft position.
Lower.
The same as Ted McMillan, by the way. Jade Barron is at 18.5. Kelvin Banks is at 18.5. And then for fun, I'm just interested what you hear about Shedeur Sanders and Ashton Genty. So let's just go through them. So what does it imply at 17.5 for Matthew Golden? I didn't even look to see who picks 18, and I don't have that.
In Seattle.
Why are they putting it there between those guys?
Well, I mocked him to Arizona last week at 16, and I haven't ever seen that from anybody. And I thought that
Arizona have. I mean, do you really want? Does Arizona really
doesn't matter what I want. I love Monty Austin for it, and I think when you look at that offense, they like Michael Wilson, but is Michael Wilson the ideal number 2 next to Marv? No. Is Greg Dortch
Tyler Booker or something? Is it Gray Zabel?
Who for Arizona? Yeah,
I would take an interior offensive lineman, or if Josh Simmons failed, I would take. They need an offensive line, dude. They need to keep Michael Lombardi's mare upright.
I'm just telling you what I was thinking. I mean, I think they want a real 2, and Golden, I think, brings that to Marv. 18 Seattle.
Let me just tell you what I think about this. I think if you're saying that he goes at 17.5 or later, I think the most reasonable landing spot would honestly
be Denver.
Earlier. If you're saying less, I think that there you're just pegging him to Dallas, or I guess your cockamamie Arizona thing. Maybe
you don't have enough. There's not enough darts in the chamber to take the under on Golden.
Yeah, I think you got to take the over, man. I think you got to take the over. Okay. Barron at 18.5. So that would be between Seattle and Tampa Bay. If you look at those team needs, so we have Seattle's team needs listed as interior offensive line. They got DeMarcus Lawrence to take care of one. They got Sam Darnold to take care of one. They got Cooper Kupp to take care of the wide receiver stuff. They also brought in, what was it, Marquez Valdez-Scantling?
Yep, Seattle.
So they need interior offensive line. They need linebacker. They could use tackle. I don't think that they're. I mean,
I think I go under on this. You got New Orleans, you got San Fran, you got Atlanta, and you got Cincy.
Under, like he's going to go earlier than earlier than
18.
18.5.
Yeah. I think but here's the thing. Barron is a candidate for the reverse flat circle. And when I say reverse flat circle, it's really just saying he's the flat circle, just like Kelvin Banks, right? In that these ships passed a month ago, and Banks shot out of the top 10, and Jade shot into the top 10
as far as
for
some mock
conversations.
drafts. Yeah.
And now they got the same number, and Barron feels proper. Banks feels low. Barron feels like a good number. Like I can, like I said, I just told you, I think that New Orleans is there, but you also have the quarterback entering the conversation. San Fran, but they could go line. Atlanta is a damn wild card, as much as we always think we know. Bengals, we've talked about that, going edge or interior offensive line. And if I told you Barron fell to Pittsburgh, you'd believe it.
Oh,
The Green Bay, Minnesota, you'd believe it. I think those are three great spots. So I think that I'd take Barron higher, and then I think Banks is the no doubt under.
what did Green Bay have the opportunity to take Cooper DeJean last year?
Everybody did.
That could teach them to take Barron.
Well, also the Packers have
I
drafted,
mocked DeJean to the Packers.
the Packers have drafted 9 defensive backs in the last 11 drafts in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah. So what are you picking? Over or under?
Barron goes after 18.5. Golden goes after 17.5. Banks goes before 18.5.
And so your most likely landing spots for Banks, does it start at Chicago at 10? And then San Francisco could be a really good one. Eventual replacement for Trent Williams.
Yeah, I mean, I think New Orleans,
Dallas?
Chicago, San Fran. Yeah, I think all of those are open.
Miami, now that didn't Teron Armstead retire?
Correct.
That opened up.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, he's going to go at 10, 11, 12, 13. Maybe even to Arizona at 16 or Cincinnati at 17.
Well, Arizona's got Paris Campbell. That means, or Paris Johnson. That means one of the two would have to play right.
Well, if he went to San Francisco, he'd have to play right.
Or he could play guard for a year.
Or he could play guard for a little while. So, yeah, I definitely take the Banks less than 18.5. And then just for fun, what about the Shedeur Sanders popping in at 8.5?
I think that tells us he's out of pocket for the top pick. Not the top pick, the second, third pick.
The second or third. And that squeezes him between Carolina, who he knows not taking him, but it's saying we dare you to
it's New Orleans
to bet it's not the Saints.
Yeah, you're either taking Cleveland, the Giants, or you're taking New Orleans.
Dog, I think he falls past the Saints.
Yeah,
unless somebody wants to. That it would be a great trade up spot for somebody.
I think he is a Saint at this point.
And you've noticed that, hey, Coach Prime isn't coming in there and saying this stuff anymore about like, nah, he's not going there. He's not. The Saints might have been previously a team where he said like, no, we're not going to send them there. He's just like, I'll take whatever I can get with his stock.
How about this Genty one being higher than Shedeur? All the stroking for Genty, and he's at 9.5.
Well, I mean, that obviously, Chicago picks at 10, and that's been where people have been sort of penciling him in for the longest time. What
do you mean? It's been 6. 6 has been the pencil.
No, I know it hadn't been the pencil the whole.
Oh, dude.
No, I mean, Cody, we've been talking about it. Like, it's the times. What I was about to say was that there's times that you see him go to Las Vegas at 6, and in those drafts they always have Omari and Hampton going at 10 to the Bears. It's
a 90-10 right now.
Yeah, I feel like I see Genty getting mocked to the Bears. Every time I see him getting mocked to the Bears, I'm like, why would they take him whenever they could get Banks or some of those guys like Mimbu are available?
Again, I think that's fine. I think 10. I think 10's stupid. I think 10 for a running back is dumb. I think that should be tackled. But I'm just telling you, the market right now is 90% Raiders. And if you go look at mock draft, everybody is Raiders because I think it was like Daniel Jeremiah or somebody that led with it, and everybody went Raiders. And that's just what's I've seen the Bears. Yes, the Bears I think was the spot before that. The Cowboys and then the Bears, and now it's the Raiders. But again, I think you're seeing a lot more of Martin Hampton with the Bears. That's why I think 9.5 is interesting, because it tells you that the 6 thing may be a little was Hampton. They didn't drop Hampton, did they?
I think they did, but I didn't put it on this because I just wanted to put 3 Longhorns and then 2 guys that I thought would be of interest to everybody.
Gotcha.
So
I'm sure if it was close.
I think Hampton was 19.5.
Exactly. See, if it was close, you would have wrote it.
Well, it was I think it was 19.5 because it was Denver.
No, I know, but I'm saying if it was 11.5 or 12.5, you would have written it down.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so that's what we think about those guys. Go ahead and place your bet. Or I mean, so what do you have? I think Shedeur falls past the Saints. Correct. And I think Genty somehow is going to go before to pick 9. He's probably going to go to the Oakland Raiders.
Yep.
And it's weird because Oakland Raiders right now is like minus 185 to land him, and they're putting at the same websites putting his draft slot at 9.5. So just odd. All right. Now you can email us, fwfemails@gmail.com. That's the best way to contact us for the 99% of you who are going to be watching this show over the course of the next few days. And speaking of you guys, man, thanks so much to everybody for being here. If we could just ask you guys to please like the show, subscribe to the channel. We come in and we talk football. We don't bug you with a bunch of that stuff during the actual show, but we got to tell you, it's really important. It helps. It helps more than you know, and it takes 1 second. It's free. It's free to like. It's free to subscribe. All it does is help us. So if you're watching on YouTube, just click that button. Click those 2. If you're watching the show and you like the show, let a friend know about the show. That helps a ton. We've seen our numbers grow even during the off season, which is wild. And so that's thanks to you guys. We ask that you continue to do that. And if you're somebody who got sent the show or you're watching it for the first time, maybe you're one of the ones on X, over 600 of you guys watching right now. Thanks so much for that. Come on over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, man, or just find us on X again. We're here every night, 6 to 7 p.m. Football with Friends here on Orange Bloods Live. Enjoy your basketball tonight. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with some practice nuggets and some notes. We'll at least have whatever Steve Sarkisian has to say about all of it. Thanks to our great sponsors, Poncho Outdoors, Texas Beef Traders, MyPerfectFranchise.net, and, of course, Specs. Love all those guys. Please go frequent them. Please go patronize them. Well, don't patronize them like be rude, but go be a patron. Like go patronize their businesses. Love you all, man. God bless you. For Cody, I'm Alex. We're done.